never believe a homilist. You know, we all lie. Including St. Paul. Now, St. Paul is probably one of the great homilists of the church. And in the letter to the Philippians that we've been reading, as Deacon Bill pointed out, for several weeks, and we will read it again next week, and that will be the end of it. In today's reading, you hear Paul say, "Finally, brothers and sisters." Now, like any good homilist, when he says finally, don't believe him. Because he goes on for another 2 chapters until he finally brings it to an end. But remember last week with Deacon Bill, he was talking to us as we were hearing from Paul about this reflection that it's not about us. That if you and I are to live as disciples of Jesus Christ, then the center of our decision making has got to be not what we want, but what others need. Have in you the same mind as is in Jesus Christ, who did not deem equality something to be grasped at. Equality with God, something to be grasped at, but emptied himself. That is a beautiful thought. And it's one that I think each and every one of us, by virtue of our baptism, by virtue of our confirmation, our constant attendance at Eucharist, we genuinely try to do. But what does that look like when the rubber hits the road? Dove la gomma tocca la strada, when the rubber hits the road. What does that look like? Paul tells us today. Some of us are old enough to remember the ancient practice of an examination of conscience. At the end of the day, to sit down and go through our day, or at the end of a week, to sit down and go through our week. Some of us may have been taught to go through the 10 Commandments, or may have had some other list that we went through. Paul gives us one. Finally, brothers and sisters, at the end of the day, whatever is true, question for ourselves, were my words today truth? Whatever is honorable, were my actions today honorable? Whatever is just, did I seek justice in all that I did? Whatever is pure, were my intentions pure today? Whatever is lovely, not just what got made up well, but whatever is lovely. Did I appreciate and try to produce beauty in some way today? Whatever is gracious, did I offer hospitality to all that I met? In offering hospitality, did I do it genuinely because I was focused on their needs and not my own? It wasn't just a matter of, well, let me be hospitable today because if I do this well, they'll think I'm really good and they'll invite me to their house next time. But rather, hospitality is about, I give because in you I welcome the person of Jesus Christ. As Paul says in another place, those who in hospitality often welcome angels unknown. If Christ entered our home this evening for dinner, how would we react? Could we react the same way to our spouse, to our children, to our next door neighbor, to the relative that we really was hoping would not come over today, but did? To all those people in our lives, could we offer graciousness? If there is any excellence, and if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. Any list, we could make lists forever. But you know your life better than I do. You know what the demands of being a parent or a grandparent or a spouse, a neighbor or a friend look like. You know what that's about. If there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. Keep on doing what you have learned and received and heard and seen in me. Then the God of peace will be with you. I think that is what allows us to put all anxiety aside the fact is, anxiety will be there. We'll say a prayer later on in the Mass after the Our Father, which will ask the Lord to remove from us all needless anxiety. Anxiety is going to be there, but some of us live for it. We look for it. We dwell on it. And we're almost sad when it's not there. Can we remove it from our lives so that we genuinely live in the heart and the mind of Jesus Christ? Finally, brothers and sisters, let us live in the gospel.